Welcome back to our third edition of Tour With Us on Tuesdays here at the Onslow County Museum. When last we visited with you, we were just beginning this experiment that would become the United States of America. We want to backtrack just a little bit to colonial Onslow and introduce you to our namesake. This is the Honorable Arthur Onslow. Onslow was the Speaker of the House of Commons in England in the 1730s, when we would have been created as our own distinct precinct. Probably will never be known if Onslow knew that this corner of North Carolina was named in his honor, but we do recognize him today. So let's move forward just a little bit. This week that you're joining us happens to be the week leading up to the Declaration of Independence, signed officially on July 4th, 1776. I have to let you in on a little secret. I begin celebrating on the 2nd because that's when the first draft is introduced. So if you want to start celebrating a few days early, that's awesome. So we're celebrating this Declaration of Independence, becoming this independent nation. But we need to be thinking about who all the players are as well. Will this Declaration of Independence apply to everyone? No, not everyone originally. Certainly not those peoples who are enslaved, not women. You know, even though Abigail Adams reminds her husband to, remember the ladies, that doesn't really technically apply to begin with. So we will have to continue to evolve as a nation, but that's our jumping off point. That's where we begin. Now, where do we see Onslow County in the American Revolution? Well, certainly in several places. Moores Creek Battleground was a site where we would have seen Onslow troops, the militia there. That's a great place that when we can get out and visit, you want to go there for sure. You want to look around our landscape and imagine where there may have been militia, where there might have been British troops marching through here. The waterways. This is a site, we've got our colonial capital to our north in Newburgh, Wilmington, where we know Cornwallis is. This is in the very center of all of that activity. So when you are able to get out and about, even when you're driving around, imagine that there would have been people here in this small settlement, but becoming part of that new American story. Now, as we move forward, we end the American Revolution, 1781, 83, 1787, we have the signing of the Constitution. Again, one of those foundational documents that we build on and layer and learn and evolve through time. And then in 1790, a very important event occurred. We have our first U.S. Census. Super timely, because what are we conducting right now? We're conducting the 2020 census. Here at the Onslow County Museum, we use that original document, that 1790 census, to know how many people were living here, how many men there were, women there were, free people of color, enslaved peoples. We have those documents to have that statistical understanding, and we have the names of those families who completed their 1790 census, just like we want you to complete your 2020 census. Move forward just a little bit beyond that, and we have a very special visitor here in spring of 1791. Who tours Onslow County? But none other than George Washington himself. Very new to the presidency, wanting to get out and see how this new experiment is working, and he's right here. I will have to tell you that personally, when I'm driving down Highway 24 and 258, and I'm going through what was Verona, and I'm heading toward Holly Ridge, I'm really imagining what it must have looked like when President Washington toured here, because as we're going to show you, through this video, that's the path that he took. And imagining that President Washington was here and documented in his journal his visit to what would be Onslow County, North Carolina. Now, when we travel through time on our next visit, we're going to take you from 1790 forward and discuss the antebellum period. But for now, we want to wish you a very safe and happy 4th of July. And imagine that great experiment that began in 1776 and that we're still learning from. Thanks again for touring with us on this Tuesday.